Wondering if cutting back on alcohol might make perimenopause or menopause a little less awful? In this video, I am going to show you first, the health issues associated with drinking. Second, how I quit alcohol about 10 whole years ago. And I'm going to share with you some ways that I have found to be super helpful if you are really ready to either cut back on alcohol or eliminate it altogether. It doesn't have to be as hard as you think. Okay, so the first thing that is super important to me when I was making this decision was cancer. Cancer rates in women who drink are much higher than in women who don't drink. So, especially considering breast cancer. So, for those reasons alone, it really makes a big impact to eliminate alcohol. My mother has had breast cancer on and off, however you want to say it, for 30 years. And also, my father passed away about 11 years ago from bladder cancer, and neither of them were heavy drinkers, which almost highlights to me more how much I need to not drink alcohol. Secondly, alcohol consumption is linked with weak bones, osteoporosis, osteopenia. Your body is not absorbing minerals in the way that it should be because of the alcohol. There's a malabsorption of minerals if you are drinking alcohol. So there's two reasons why alcohol creates this issue in women. First of all, your body is not absorbing nutrients as it should be when you are drinking alcohol. And secondly, alcohol makes you clumsy. And if you're drinking alcohol, you are much more likely to struggle with your balance and struggle with slipping and falling. So your bones are going to be impacted by your drinking, either because there's no absorption going on and your bones don't have the materials to be building back stronger. And second, because you're much more likely to slip or trip or stumble if you have been drinking. And so if you compile both of those, you have weak bones and you don't have great balance. And thirdly, alcohol causes weight gain. Women in peri and post-menopause, we do not metabolize alcohol the same way that men do. Also, second issue is that when you are drinking, you automatically do not make great food choices. So if you are going out to dinner, you have a couple drinks at the bar before you have a meal, your choices are going to be very different. You're going to make different choices if you have had a few drinks before you order. You lose your wits. You have all great intentions, but we all know what alcohol does. Not only is alcohol increasing our calories, but also you are going to make different food choices totally sober than you would if you had a few drinks in you, right? We've all been in that situation. If you've ever had a night out where suddenly you're eating more and you are making decisions that you wouldn't make if you had your wits about you and if you were sober. So how much alcohol is considered a serving? For a beer, it's 12 ounces. A 12-ounce beer is one serving. 1.5 ounces is for liquor, and it's a 5-ounce glass of wine. So that's what you're working with. 12 ounces of beer, 1.5 ounces of liquor, or 5 ounces of wine. That's considered a serving. So now I'm curious, which one of those reasons really really hit the hammer on the head? What does that saying? You hit the hammer on the head. Which one of those reasons is a good enough reason for you to stop drinking? You can post below. Is one of those reasons the best choice for quitting? Or maybe you've already quit and you can post below how long it's been since you've had any alcohol. So now about me. I quit drinking about 10 years ago. It's probably been a little more than 10 years ago now. I quit drinking. Now, I was never a heavy drinker. I was never like a huge drinker. Sure, at college, there were nights, there was probably in my early 20s where I overdid it, but never after those years, I was never really a heavy drinker. It was more like the sharing a bottle of wine with my husband kind of drinker. It wasn't like a huge issue for me, but I did drink, and I probably drank weekly. I probably didn't go much more than a weekend without it being like a concerted effort to not drink. There were a few reasons why I stopped drinking. First of all, Both my parents have had cancer, and neither of them were heavy drinkers. And so that definitely was a big consideration when I decided to stop drinking. Secondly, waking up the next day as I got older, feeling lousy, feeling tired, mild headache, no energy, it just started to become not worth it at all to drink. My kids were little. They would wake up anywhere between 6 and 7 in the morning, and you have to be on and ready to go. And I just did not at all want to be going through that in the mornings. Like, you'd have a whole beautiful Saturday stretched out in front of you, and instead of feeling like up and at 'em, you felt, ugh, making coffee in the morning and feeling like you were just struggling. And third, one of my children used to have anaphylactic food allergies. He doesn't anymore. We fixed it. That's a whole nother story. But there were times where if I had a couple glasses of wine, it was like a Friday night, like having a little bottle of wine with my husband, and I would think, well, what if something happened and he had some anaphylactic issue out of the blue and no one was able to drive? I wasn't drinking a lot, but I was drinking 2 glasses of wine as a person who weighed like 120 pounds or so. I really didn't drink. Getting behind the wheel with my child was not something I would do. So I started to really reconsider that and think, you know what? I think I need to not drink anymore. And so I ended up making that choice and I stopped drinking. So here are a few options for you if you think you're ready to really take a look at this and start to lower the amount or eliminate what you are drinking. So I'm looking at a span of 10 years, and I never really anymore feel left out or bummed out that I can't drink. I don't even really consider it an option for me anymore. It's just like something that other people do that I don't do. I don't really think about it. I feel like so glad that I don't drink anymore, and there's no regrets here. I don't worry about it. I don't feel left out. I don't worry when I go out, oh, but what if I really want that glass of wine? I went through that for sure. Like going out to Mexican, gee, I really want a margarita. That kind of thing where you're like, oh, I really want to have a drink, and you feel like you're having to resist and restrict yourself. Like that phase I'm past, and almost it's the opposite where I almost can't imagine going and having drinks. That's not even in my thing. A few years ago, my brother got married in Ireland, and I did have a Guinness. I had one Guinness, and that was it. I think it was even a half a pint. I don't even think it was a full pint. I think it was just like a mini glass of Guinness, and that was it. Maybe I had a sip of champagne, maybe, but really it was like so minimal. We were there for 2 weeks. I definitely don't feel like I missed out on anything. So it's possible to get over that hump where in the beginning you're like, but I can't go out for Mexican and not have a margarita, or I can't go out to our favorite Italian restaurant and not have a glass of wine, or I can't, like, even when we travel, I don't drink. It's just not even in my periphery anymore, which is great. And anyone can get there. So here's a few ways that you can start to eliminate your alcohol consumption. First is, as I read before, every type of alcohol has an amount. Limit it to no more than that amount every day. If you miss one day of drinking, it doesn't mean you get to make up for it the next day. So if you typically are having like 2 beers on a Friday night, 3 beers on a Saturday night, whatever it is, 1 beer, 1 drink, that's it. And so limit it to 1 drink a day over the course of a week. So if you keep it at no more than 1 drink a day, then you are in good shape. So I would challenge you to say 1 drink a day and no more than that. That's it. If you're ready for another little challenge, it would be you only have a drink on the weekends. So that would mean that Friday night rolls around and you have 1 drink. Saturday night rolls around, you have 1 drink, and then no more alcohol for the rest of the week. And number 3 is just stop. Cold turkey. And this is for people who are obviously not like addicts. Do I need to say that? This isn't for people who need rehab. This is for the drinker who has a little bit extra on the weekends and maybe 1 or 2 nights a week she's having wine. This is not for, if you need help with withdrawals, that's a whole different category. So just stop. Say 30 days of no alcohol. In 30 days, I'm just not drinking. And stick to it. Stick to 30 days with no alcohol, because you know what? I bet you anything, you're going to feel amazing. You are going to feel amazing. And you might end up with a winning streak, and you might end up just never drinking ever again. And you will be so excited about that. So that is it. That is it for me. Now we understand a little more about alcohol and women and menopause, why we should be maybe considering our alcohol consumption, and a few takeaways with how you can start taking action with that immediately so that you can feel so much better. Okay, that's it for me. And if you have any questions about that, post below. If you have had a streak of no alcohol, post below. If you have anything to share about this, post below. I'd love to hear it. Or maybe a challenge for yourself that you are going to do this, post it below. All right, that is it for me. Thank you so much for stopping by. I would love to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.